as a dolly.
Hang on. I still don't have a fucking song.
Fuck it. Let's do the intro theme.
Intro theme?
Yeah. You know that theme song we use?
I do know that theme song that we use.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, dude.
You know, if you really want an intro theme, you should probably decide on one before, 5 minutes till the podcast.
Yeah.
Tentatively 1 minute after the podcast start time.
Mm-hmm. You done? Here we go, it's playing.
Ladies, gentlemen, ladies again, welcome to Straight Outta Austin, a Monday on a Tuesday. I'm Prometheus.
That didn't make any sense. I'm Agamemnon.
It does make sense. It's a Monday on a Tuesday. Normally we're on Monday, but now it's Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
So your entire week has been shifted, and now today is Monday, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And welcome.
As the Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, I declare today as Monday. Yes, welcome out there, listeners. Welcome, Blood Ocean 07. Pleased of you to join us. We actually have a good amount of topics today. We don't have a guest.
No guests, just two boring old maids.
Agnes!
Edna!
But now, it will still be as entertaining as it usually is. So, the first thing I want to do is give shout-outs to our buddy Ben Moody, Blue Goggles Films.
Yeah. He's
running a Kickstarter to fund his next project, his latest project, Last Girl Standing. And basically it's described as, it says, Last Girl Standing is about the lone survivor of a horrific massacre who attempts to reclaim her shattered life. But when the killer returns, can she protect her new friends, or is she destined to be alone?
Oh my god.
So they were trying to get the goal of $3,000, which apparently between earlier today and now they've actually reached that goal. But that does not mean you can't give them more money. So that's just more special effects and all that you can get. And if you're not familiar with BitParts, you can check out their stuff. They did a whole web series called Depixelated and another one called BitParts, which was supposed to be, I believe, a 12-episode arc. But unfortunately, they didn't get the Kickstarter funding, so go ahead and check that out. Hopefully we'll have him on the podcast sometime in the near future. But yeah, it looks good. It's gonna have Brian Villalobos, also a guest on the show at one point. Awesome dude. So check it out.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So what do you think?
In the old quote, my wise old sage of a teacher told me once. His name was Mel Gibson.
That was Robert Paulson.
No.
Damn.
He told me, remember, boys. I mean, Agamemnon. Aim small. Miss small.
Nice.
So you aim for a small Kickstarter goal, you will have a very small chance of missing that goal.
That's true.
Which means, ergo, vis-a-vis, you will have a very great chance of reaching that goal.
So in other words, when the redcoats come, you kill them all.
Yeah.
And you get nicknamed the Ghost.
And if you run out of ammo, make sure to grab your iron toy soldiers and melt them down to small little ammo balls.
Something tells me that wasn't historically accurate.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. But they were a well-to-do family, so I'm sure they could afford metal toys of that nature.
I also don't think Australians fought in the U.S. Revolutionary War.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, it's like two of the strongest Australians were like father and son.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, Heath Ledger. Yeah, the Joker. Yeah, I don't think the Joker was around back then.
And then the French show up. I like that movie was just like one big fuck you
to
the French.
It really was.
I'm not exactly positive if it was historically accurate or not, but at the very end of the movie, as they're taking over the fort, Cornwallis's fort, and then the French ships are like arriving just in time, like it's the party going on, and then he just looks at that guy, the French guy, and he's like, the French, they come on time, and he's like, yes, the French always show up, or some shit like that. It's like, what a big fuck you to French people.
Well, the funniest thing about it is, like, historically, the French played like a huge role in us, like without the French, because pretty much like. Historically, the Revolutionary War was pretty much just a proxy war between France and England. Yeah. So, it was funny. Apparently we learned that lesson very well. Let's do that to other countries. That was pretty fun. Yeah. But, like, they were actually, probably one of the most important aspects of it.
Financing it.
Yeah. So it's funny that in the movie they're like, yeah, these guys didn't help at all. It was all us. It was all America.
All America.
But, I mean, obviously the movie's called The Patriot, so there you go. So it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I still enjoy the movie very much.
Oh, yeah,
One of my favorite movies growing up.
It's probably about as historically accurate as 300.
Yeah, which may or may not be based on a myth. We don't know.
So everything about that movie happened exactly how it happened.
Yeah, I think they were probably missing a zero. I think it was really more like 30 people, sir.
Can you imagine? It's just like, when 30 Spartans stood against, and they see like the huge Persian army. You know what? We're getting the hell out of here. It's like they never even fought them. They just departed. They went to go found like Rome or something. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna start our own empire because this shit is ridiculous. So I recently saw Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, how was it?
Amazing. No, it was okay. So. For full disclosure, for those that don't know, I was not thrilled with the first Amazing Spider-Man. I loved Dennis Leary, I loved Emma Stone, and that was about it. I really was not fond of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and I especially was not fond of Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. However, they did some good things in this movie. I did not hate Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man or Peter Parker.
Really?
I still hate his face, and I especially hate his hair. Like, I seriously felt like an old dude, like, dude, get a haircut. I'm tired of looking at your stupid, like, perfectly designed hair. It's like, you're wearing a mask all the time. Like, your hair would not be like that.
Right.
But a lot of the things that annoyed me about the first movie were not present. He didn't constantly take his mask off, because that was really irritating in the first one. He wasn't a dick to his aunt. He actually was really kind to her, especially at certain moments where she was very vulnerable. So he wasn't a dick. He was less emo, and as Spider-Man, I think they portrayed Spider-Man a lot better. So I think I can finally stop hating on Andrew Garfield. I won't take back the hate, but I will call a ceasefire on my hate of Andrew Garfield.
Parlay. Since we're keeping it French here.
I want to see a French Spider-Man. But, in the movie, you almost get an English Spider-Man, but the Green Goblin...
Well, we do have an Italian Spider-Man, and we have Japanese Spider-Man. And both are somewhat equally as ridiculously hilarious.
Oh, Blood Ocean 07 says, but was it better than the first one? I'm getting there.
Don't rush us, Blood Ocean, go!
I'm building up to the climax, sir. But to answer your question, yes, it was. I felt like it was infinitely better than the first one. It still has huge flaws.
Okay, so before we get into like more of the stuff that you like, let's just tackle the flaws one at a time.
Okay.
Well, what's the first one that really?
Electro.
Okay.
Which, from the preview, I already knew I was not going to like Electro. He looked dumb. Right, he sounded dumb.
You've been talking shit about him since it was announced that Jamie Foxx was going to play him.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was so much that it was Jamie Foxx playing him, but I think I remember you talking about like the voice.
The voice was
when you heard it on the Leno show.
Yeah, one of those late shows. But it wasn't as distracting in the actual movie. I don't know if it was just because it wasn't as bad or simply because there were things that were that much worse. But his character, it feels like it's being nitpicky, but really my problem was like there were so many things where it just felt lazy. Like, I think that was probably the biggest problem with the movie. Yeah. But it's like, okay, so you have Electro, obviously, okay, first of all, his origin is stupid. Yeah. You see it in the trailers, this isn't a spoiler, but before I even go further, I'm going to spoil things in this movie, so you haven't seen it. I mean, really, you know what's going to happen. If you are listening to this podcast, you probably know about Spider-Man, you know about the comics, you know Gwen Stacy dies. Yes, there you go. There you go.
Dies?
That's the biggest possible spoiler you can have, so anything after that is pretty obvious. So anyway,
right.
Okay, so, they go through this whole thing with telling you about the origins of the spiders. Like, they have radioactive isotopes, they have a mixture of human DNA, and, like, they go to the extent of trying to make it seem like, okay, this seems plausible in this universe.
Right.
How Peter Parker would get spider powers from being bitten by the spider. And not only that, the venom is actually what gives you, the DNA and stuff. So it's like, okay, they really thought this out. Like, this actually makes, sense.
Right.
Electro just falls into a vat of electric eels. It's just like, really? Like, y'all didn't even try. It felt like they just wrote that as a placeholder.
Yeah.
And then they went out to lunch. And then they realized that they had to shoot the next day. I'm like, oh, shit. Now, we'll just go with that. We'll just go with the eels. So that was terrible.
I mean, was there anything, like, special about the eels like there was with the spiders?
Not that they mentioned. They were just eels, which it didn't even make sense.
Like, just floating, like, because I remember in the commercials, they're just, like, floating in a little, cylinder tank.
They're just having fun, just powering the whole city. It didn't make sense.
That doesn't even make... I mean, how are they going to power a city?
I don't know.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, but something designed by some... I don't know how it works.
Science.
Yeah.
And isotopes.
Aliens.
Something with a micropipette. And
Blue people.
people.
Well, I mean, the fact that he can dematerialize and come back with clothes, I mean... I don't know. I guess they didn't want the Dr. Manhattan Blue Dong syndrome.
Yeah.
But it would have been appropriate.
I mean, even so, you do like the snazzy like back shots where he's like naked.
You just see his butt
or
cheeks.
even like a side part like Terminator style when he comes
Yeah.
from the past and you don't really see the butt cheek until it kind of like pans around.
Well, even if they didn't want to show...
It's not like he's going to open his butt cheeks and show you the whole...
Well, the thing is, like, even if they didn't want to show any actual nudity, they can still do it tastefully. Like the way you do it on TV, like waist up. You assume they're naked.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You just do like these little like certain like shots.
Yeah.
So you see the back and then or what movie was it? I think you know what? It was Arachnophobia. Where they like there's a spider in the girl's bathtub. It's like a pretty attractive chick. But they pan from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. So it's like starts at the legs and then it goes to the side. And then, like, it pretty much goes around the vagina, so you don't even see anything close to, like, the leg curve where it meets the vagina. So you go around the side of the leg, and then, like, I think the spider's crawling up the girl, or it was on the shower.
Yeah.
Thing, shower rod, whatever. And so then it goes up, and it's about to go to the boobs, and then it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, it's on the girl's face.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't even have to go that in depth. But, I mean, at least the scene where he's, like, taking somebody else's clothes and putting them on. But anyway, that's just a minor gripe. That's not even the main gripe. The main gripe is, like, okay, so obviously he gets powered by electricity. Like, they show that. They show him, like, chewing on, like, a power line or whatever to get power.
Like a Twizzler?
Pretty much. He doesn't actually chew on it, but that would have been funny.
Okay.
But then later on... He's captured. He's in a contraption with metal, which he even points out. It's like, this place is powered by electricity. I'm going to kill all you motherfuckers. And they're
Fair warning.
Yeah, FYI.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I do it.
Yeah.
And they're like doing experiments on him by shocking him with electricity. The one thing they already have established give him powers.
So what is it doing to him? Is he like reacting badly to this?
It's just like if you shocked a regular person, that's how it's reacting. Now, granted, they show later on that he's like sedated, but it still doesn't make any sense.
Like context and explanation would have helped beforehand.
Yeah. So I don't know, just like stuff like that. But anyway, his whole character just seemed kind of pointless. And he was like the cliche, like, oh, I'm a super smart genius, but I have no social skills.
I'm a huge nerd with horrible grooming.
But it's not even just that. It was just literally like anyone that shows him any affection, he instantly is like. And there's a part where Gwen Stacy, like says, they meet in the elevator, and she's like, "Oh, have a good day, Max." He's like, "She remembered my name."
Oh,
yeah. It's just like, come on, this isn't like the 1980s anymore. Like we can, it was pretty terrible.
Way to kill progress, genius.
But I don't know. It was kind of like that. I mean, all the villains were very cartoonish, and all of their reasons for hating Spider-Man. It's like, it's just funny too because in the first movie, like I said, Spider-Man's a dick. You have good reason to hate him because he's a dick. And the second movie, he's a good person.
But I mean, no one really hated Spider-Man. Not even the Lizard. Well, yeah, the fans maybe, but. Yeah,
the movie was just out of control.
Yeah, he was out of control, and he wasn't even trying to, like... I mean, he was out to kill Spider-Man, but just because, like...
Well, he's trying to transform everyone else into lizards.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that?
Fast forward. Yeah, he just had this, like... Which even that didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Well, he felt like they were going to evolve, like he evolved.
Yeah.
But he obviously was just insane.
Right, but he was out of his mind.
Yeah.
You know, like the serum heavily affected him, and that was the explanation. Like, this makes you mentally unstable, as do many other psychotropic drugs. And
yeah, he was on bath salts pretty much.
Yeah. Bath salts that regrow limbs. It's like bath salts 2.
Yeah.
You don't eat people, you just want to kill them and then convert them to your kind.
Okay, Bloodstone7 says, I think he's being overpowered, so it's too much to handle. Because he says there's a meter on his head, so it shows, like, when he's overpowered. So just in case you didn't know, because you have, like, a little, like, speedometer of electricity. Does it tell you when he's about to blow up? But even that. Okay, but anyway.
Electro?
Yeah, Electro. So, but it's just...
That doesn't make any... I mean, that wasn't established even in the comics. If anything, he was like one of the more underpowered.
Yeah, villains. Well, in this one, he's crazy powerful.
That's dumb.
Well, I mean, this version, because, I mean, they went with the newer version of Electro where he actually is blue. So I don't know if he's more powerful than the classic, like, green and yellow Electro.
Okay, I got you.
So, I don't know. Because, I mean, because, like, that Electro is pretty much like the Shocker. He's just, like, a step above, like, slightly less crappy. Which is funny, because in the cartoon, I was like, the Shocker has really powerful attacks. Like, how is he getting owned so hard, you know?
Yeah. Because not only can he shock, but then he can, like, create, like, shock waves.
Yeah.
Like with sound, somehow, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what's the reason for...
Oh, Green Goblin?
No, Electro, like, really hating Spider-Man.
So basically, this is the whole thing. Okay, so in the trailer, it made it seem like Spider-Man was just mocking him, and that's why he got mad. And I was like, this is really lame. So what actually...
Even then, that's not a real reason for, like, super villainy.
Yeah, what really happens is Spider-Man's trying to talk him down. Like I said, like this is, like, a good Spider-Man. I like this Spider-Man. Yeah. He's just like, hey, Max, I'm trying to help you. Let me get you help. And the police have him surrounded, and there's a sniper.
Yeah.
And,
Post-Uncle Ben Spider-Man.
But he accidentally, like, shoots off, like, a spark. So then the sniper shoots him, and then he just flips out and starts attacking everybody again. And then he blames Spider-Man. He's like, you set me up. You said you were my friend.
Please. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, so he wants to kill Spider-Man for that.
It was your fault, sucker.
But if you think that's bad, the motivation for Green Goblin is even worse. So basically, in this continuity, the Osborns have this degenerative disease that makes them turn green, almost like a goblin, and somehow their nails can't get clipped.
Was it like leprosy or something?
I don't know, but basically, like, so Norman dies, and he tells his son, like, on his deathbed, oh, by the way, you got this disease too, bitch. So
here's like that guy who turned himself blue by, like, guzzling, like, liters and liters of colloidal silver throughout his life. You know?
Pretty much. So, like, his whole thing is he finds, his dad's research and finds out the spiders, can heal him or whatever. So he's like, oh, there's this guy with spider powers. We make spiders that can transfer their powers into humans. Obviously, this guy got bit by one of our spiders. Hey, Peter Parker takes pictures of him all the time. He probably knows this guy. So he gets Peter Parker. Spider-Man comes over, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, he asks Spider-Man, he's like, hey, bro, mind if I get some of that blood? Spider-Man's like... Yeah,
kind of mine. I really like it.
It kind of will probably kill you. And he's like, bro, I'm dying. You can't kill me more than dead.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't even have a very compelling reason. He's like, yeah, I actually kind of agree with him on that point.
At least I'll die trying instead of just, like, succumbing to disease.
It's like if you had cancer and you're dying and they're like, we have this experimental procedure. It will probably kill you. And you're like, bro, I'm on my way out anyway. So Spider-Man doesn't give him to him. And he's just like, you're supposed to inspire hope, but you're really just an asshole. He didn't say it like that. And that's all it takes. Now he's like, I'm going to destroy you, Spider-Man.
So just like a baby that doesn't get his bottle.
That's exactly how it is. He just, like, he even starts, like, tearing up his, like, room, and he just, like, lays on the couch all emo. was like, really?
Gets on Twitter, hashtag FML.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. It was so lame.
Spider-Man's a jerk. Never gonna get him an invite for as long or as short as I live.
You know what they should have done? They should have had him on the computer, and he's on Facebook. He'd just see him unfriend, show you Spider-Man. So the worst part is, so he finds out, because the spiders, some of them had survived, and they have the venom. And so he goes, and he gets injected with it, and it makes him go all crazy. And it's pretty much like killing him and shit. And so he crawls into the Green Goblin suit, which is engineered to heal you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that seems like you could have skipped a step and just went right into that suit, and he would have been good. It would have saved you some really bad skin damage.
Oh, my God. So, I mean, how do you get away with explaining that off?
I don't know. They didn't explain it. He gets in the suit, gets healed, and then he's off to kill Spider-Man or make him suffer. Hashtag Spider-Man sucks.
But he doesn't suck blood.
Yeah.
Boom.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded funny in my head.
It almost worked.
It almost, yeah.
It needed to marinate a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you would have had just the right flavor.
Yeah, took it out too early. Took it out of the oven too soon.
It's still pink in the middle.
Yeah. The middle hasn't risen yet.
Yeah. But all these, negatives aside, when it came to Gwen Stacy, like, dying, like, I thought that was done really well. So basically he finally takes out Electro. They pretty much kill him with electricity. But they at least explain that part. They're like, when a battery has too much, like, power injected into it, and Electro's pretty much described as a battery, it blows up.
Yeah. So
they just have to, like, hypercharge him and he blows up. It's like, okay, y'all at least explain that. It's consistent. I buy it. So he takes out Electro, and then just, like, and the thing that I loved about it, like, this is where most movies would end. He defeats the villain, everyone's happily ever after, and it's just, like, the cliche ending. So they're like, oh, man, everything is good. I'm here with Gwen Stacy. I'm going to move to England with her, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Here comes Green Goblin. He's like, oh, no, they wrote 3 villains into this movie, bitch. Yeah. I'm back. So he's flying there in his little glider, and he grabs Gwen Stacy and just drops her.
Simple?
The proverbial, put her down, Green Goblin. Poor choice of words. And just drops her. So, Spider-Man, shoots his web, and he's, like, trying to save her while he's also fighting the Green Goblin. And then, the web gets loose and she starts falling. And so anyway, so he takes out Goblin, he's trying to save her. So he shoots the web as she's falling, and it, like, snags her. But it's like, it's almost like if you were bungee jumping, but the rope was too long.
Yeah.
So it attaches onto her, but it doesn't, it's like too long to get her to stop the momentum. So the back of her head still hits the ground. And then she's just, like, caught, like, suspended in midair. So we think she's fine and she's really dead.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like the way it happens is just, like, really powerful. It's like, wow, this is actually well done,
Yeah.
Because it really looked like, oh, nah, he's going to, nope, she dead. He's like holding her, he's like, Gwen! And then you see the little blood trickle from the nose. It's like, that's brain hemorrhaging, folks.
Yeah.
So.
Ouch.
That part's where you get the little tear in her eyes. No,
so it's final, like, there was a funeral scene.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah, then they go this montage where he just keeps going to her gravesite. It's like every season, it's just like, because it starts off, he's there, and then it cuts to him there again, then cuts to him there again, and then cuts to him, like, in the wintertime.
Wow.
So he's just, like, grieving over her. So, yeah, Blood Ocean 7 says it was, like, 1 second too late. So it was just, like, barely able to save her. And the fact that he saved, like, the entire city, there's, like, this whole thing where, like, pretty much Electro shuts down the power grid for the whole city. So these 2 planes are trying to land, and they're about to collide. He saves them, but it's, like, the one person that matters most, he fails to save.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that part was done well. And what kind of sucked after the movie was over is, like, so you guys showed that you can have emotional impact, you can actually do some things well, but it felt like the movie was just so crammed full of stuff that instead of it being, like, an excellent movie, it was like, nah, this was good, it had moments.
Yeah.
But it felt like they were trying too hard to do the whole expanded universe stuff.
Right.
And I felt like it suffered because of that. But long story short, I'd recommend seeing it if for no other reason but to build your own opinion. So, wait, one other thing, Dennis Leary. So the ghost of Dennis Leary comes back.
Okay.
And it's so unnecessary. He has this weird vinegar strokes look on his face all the time. And he'll just pop up, and he's just sitting there just, like, looking all creepy. And it's so weird. It's like, I get it. It's Peter Parker's guilt personified. But it just looks so freaking weird. I mean, I guess you would feel really guilty if, like, your girlfriend's dead father was showing up giving you this weird-ass face.
Yeah.
I would feel creeped out. I'd be like, so if I stop seeing her, I'll stop seeing this dead guy?
Yeah.
It's just really creeping me out. But, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, overall, I mean, I'd give it, like, I don't know, maybe 7 out of 10. I think it was better than it was worse. Again, if you're expecting something Captain America Winter Soldier level, you will be disappointed. But overall, I still thought it was a good movie. It was worth seeing. It was worth my time.
Right.
I didn't walk out of there feeling like Iron Man 3 or Thor: The Dark World, where it's just like they didn't even try.
Right.
I felt like they tried, but they also were trying too many things all at once. So, yeah. That is my review of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh, let us know, 7, what about the ending with Rhino, yay or nay? I'm of two minds with that. Okay, so basically, you see the guy who becomes the Rhino in the beginning. He gets captured, goes to jail. At the very end, this mysterious person who you see in the first movie, he busts him out, and he's in this robotic Rhino suit. And he's just like, he's not even trying to be subtle. He robs the bank, and he's just shooting at police in broad daylight. It was kind of dumb, but I liked it because he had like this ridiculous over-the-top like Russian accent. He's like, I am the Rhino! I will destroy you! And he just has like this...
They make him sound like Oglethorpe from Aqua Teen.
Oh, he almost did.
It's a Fargate, get it? It goes far!
And so, like, at this time, like, Spider-Man's being all emo, and he doesn't want to, like, be Spider-Man anymore. He hadn't been Spider-Man for months.
Yeah.
And then he watches, like, this speech that he had missed when Gwen Stacy graduated, and she gives, like, this really, like, powerful speech. So he's like, all right, I'm going to stop being emo now and be Spider-Man. Yeah.
Right after I have some depressing ramen.
Right after I eat this Haagen-Dazs. And so, the police are pinned down, and this kid in the Spider-Man costume, who Spider-Man saved earlier from being bullied, and he goes out and he's staring down the Rhino.
Yeah.
And the best part is like, okay, the Rhino, it was funny because I was watching it, and my sister was like, well, why didn't you just shoot the kid? I was like, I kind of saw it as like the Rhino was almost like amused by this kid, and he's just like, really? Like, this is the only person in this whole city that's got balls, is this little kid in the Spider-Man suit? Because he's just like laughing. He's like, this is your Spider-Man! And then the real Spider-Man comes in, and they're about to fight, and then it's just like almost one of those like, to be continued.
Yeah.
So that aspect of it was lame. And it was like silly, but I don't know. I will say I enjoyed it. Just because it was like, I don't know, I like the accent. And like the part where like he turns into the Rhino and he actually starts like galloping like a rhino. It looks kind of cool. The only thing I hated was like every time he talked, he had to like open up the little thing to see his face and to see his face poking out of the Rhino suit. Yeah. It's like, wouldn't that be a perfect shot or a perfect chance to shoot him in the head?
It seems like a huge like
oversight.
Well, not like oversight, but like it's like a huge wardrobe malfunction. Like if there was no other way to take him out, like you just wait for him to like gloat and talk and just like boom right in the face.
Because it's like when Spider-Man's fighting Electro, they have time to get snipers. They didn't have a sniper to just shoot the Rhino in the face while he's sitting there doing his speech. Or at the very least, like, goad him. Like, get him to talk more shit so you can just shoot him, you know?
It's New York's finest, huh?
It would have been one thing if he at least had, like, a bulletproof shield over his face. But it's like, he's in, like, this impenetrable machine. The most vulnerable part of your body is poking out just so you can talk shit.
Yeah.
It was just like, who designed this?
Like, no little megaphone attached to it or something.
Yeah, they could have had speakers on the outside or something. It was just funny. It was like unintentionally funny. And it was like, okay, like if I hold it up to the standards of the rest of the movie, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But it gave me a chuckle at the end, so I give it a pass.
The trailers, I mean, like when you really think about it, it's like a baby Gundam.
Yeah.
You could put all this stuff into a Gundam or something, or even like the smaller, like any kind of like small mobile suit. That's basically what it is. It's a freaking mobile suit, you know? I don't know. There's always room for... If cell phone technology has taught us nothing, it's that you can always put a speaker somewhere.
Yeah, it was just pretty much just to have like more FaceTime, because there was absolutely no reason why they couldn't have had it where there were speakers on the outside.
Yeah,
it was just it was dumb. It was pretty damn.
Or like
dumb.
speakers in the eyeballs, or something. But like they just switch for like a second.
Yeah, so I don't know, but yeah. So that's Spider-Man 2. See it, don't see it. I mean, you're not missing much. Like, if you haven't seen the first one either, like, you're not missing that much.
I will put it this way. Are they, like, good companion pieces, or do you have to see one without the other?
it helps to see the first one, but I think you can see the second one because it's like nothing that happens other than like Gwen Stacy's father dying is really like that important. That and
or Uncle Ben,
you know,
huh?
you know,
huh?
you know. Wait,
huh?
wait. Let me touch on that. Uncle Ben, as far as being an inspiration for Spider-Man, is almost non-existent.
Wow.
Like, Aunt May is all bummed out that he's dead, and, like, his death is brought up to help him cope with Gwen Stacy's death. But the whole, you know, with great power demands great responsibility, like that. What responsibility? I'm fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, like
Spider-Man, I got a gorgeous girlfriend.
that's not really like an issue in this universe.
Right.
Yeah, so Uncle Ben dying really doesn't have that much of a
Doesn't
point.
haunt him as much as it did Toby.
It didn't haunt him at all. Like, freaking Dennis Leary literally haunts him. Uncle Ben is just like, man, I miss my uncle. I don't even think he even says that.
But I have his rice, so we're all good.
He doesn't even have, like, a Bone Thugs moment where it's like, and I miss my Uncle Charles,
yeah,
y'all.
I miss my Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Gotta be strong. No.
Gotta leave it gone, but gotta move on.
And we pray, and we pray, and we pray, and we pray every day. So I don't know. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, Uncle Ben's kind of null and void at this point. So
Well, that's kind of depressing to hear, especially considering it's freaking the man who only points his right shoulder at the screen, Martin Sheen. Mean Martin Sheen, dude.
It didn't bother me as much, only because there was so much already crammed in that movie. So, I mean, they already had to cut out, like, Mary Jane. Like, the movie just didn't need any more. If anything, it needed less. So, hopefully... So this is probably the best part of this movie, is if they do a third one and they scale it back and only have one villain and take the time to develop this one villain and maybe a relationship with Mary Jane or whatever, it could actually be a really good Spider-Man movie. I think they have potential. Like I said, they did Andrew Garfield. He did Spider-Man and Peter Parker much better. I don't know. They have potential to make an excellent movie for the next one, as long as they don't focus on like, well, we need to set up these Sinister Six movies and all this other shit.
Yeah.
If they just focus on writing a tight script, it has potential to be really excellent.
Gotcha.
So that is that. So now I'm going to talk about the news that everyone on the internet is fapping about, and no, I don't mean sad Batfleck.
Oh.
I mean, Channing Tatum confirmed to play a Gambit, mon ami.
Oh, man.
So,
how you taking the news, buddy?
You know, I cried. I felt like Spider-Man after Gwen Stacy died. I was sitting there just standing at Gambit's grave as the seasons passed by. And by seasons, I mean the seasons of X-Men, the animated series. But it was pretty terrible. It's just lame because it's just like, okay, so it's the X-Men's producer, Lauren Donner. And it just felt like she personally just wanted him to be Gambit. And it was nothing else beyond that. It wasn't like he auditioned and he was the best choice. Or, you know, there's something that you saw where it fits. All this is like, well, he's Southern. Gambit's Southern. So this makes sense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, overall, I mean, it's like, I don't hate Channing Tatum. He might actually do something interesting with him. But he just would not have been my choice. Again, Josh Holloway, perfect as Gambit. If they really wanted somebody to embody who Gambit is, Josh Holloway would have been perfect. But I'm willing to give Channing Tatum a chance, despite the fact that I think he's a horrible choice.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the X-Men movies haven't been great anyway, and so many of the characters have been not only just miscast, but they've just written them so far off the way their character is supposed to be. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. Channing Tatum's Gambit. I don't care. I don't even care anymore.
Why the hell not?
It's like if Anne Paquin can be Rogue, Channing Tatum can be Gambit. If a 6-foot Australian guy can be Wolverine, Wolverine's supposed to be like 5'3" and Canadian. You know what? We're just gonna throw all the rules out the window. I'm not even fanboying anymore. Just go wild. You know, if they give me a decent portrayal of Gambit and a decent Gambit movie, you know what? I'll be happy. So I mean, and again, it can't be worse than Taylor Kitsch because that was awful. So.
Which it's kind of sad because like anything like Taylor Kitsch is not a bad actor.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's like it seems like everything he's attached to just like bombs horribly. Like John Carter was supposed to be like the biggest thing had they put in
from Mars.
Mars.
You should have said John Carter. ... Mars bitches. That page fell on the poster.
#, Mars. Yeah, like they should have done something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole fiasco. There's like a really good article by a but. He was an old member of Ultimate Central, now known as the Comic Board, where you can always catch Luis from the Comic Bubble. Yeah. Now you can do
that was a premature pop.
Yeah, premature pop.
It happens.
We all have those.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote a really good, like, it might as well be just like a dissertation. Because I think it was like a good, like, 30-minute read.
Oh, yeah.
I could have read like a quarter of a novel.
Yeah,
but it's like 5 reasons why, like, why it failed and why it should have done, like, why it should have been so much better and why you should be watching it. And, like, there's a lot of whys and hows and stuff like that. But
should have made it oodles and noodles. They're
all really incredible talking points, which compelled me to go watch the movie, although I haven't had. It's not a Redbox and it's not on TV, so.
Okay, well then it pretty much doesn't exist.
Yeah, it pretty much does. Yeah,
like you gotta be Netflix or Redbox. Like if you're somewhere
Netflix, Redbox, or nowadays it seems like HBO Go.
Yeah, oh dude, HBO Go.
And now that I have like a couple of premium channels, like I have HBO Stars and like a couple of those like the AMC channel that actually shows like American movie classics and Turner Classic Movies.
It's not just Comic Book Men.
Yeah, exactly. And that's showing like original crappy reality TV programming.
Yeah,
but they're all like the channels. Like now those movie channels, like they used to just play like nothing but like old school movies, like from like the 60s, 70s, 40s even. Now that's like a premium channel. And it's up there like right after the Stars network channels. So yeah, if it's not on any of those, then chances are I'm not going to be watching it until it is, you know.
Yeah.
And actually I can't even remember a time that I've seen it at since it came out, but since my mind's changed on the movie to actually go and see it, I've not seen it at like Target or Walmart. Or, yeah,
I would imagine it's in stores now. I guess.
Maybe. No, I mean, yeah, of course. It's been like 2 years.
It's like at the very back of the shelves, so no one can ever see it.
Yeah, it's just like it's down there with the ET video games. It seems. Burn it!
Wow, I just googled it. Even the cover looks awful. Like, no wonder this thing didn't do well.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've seen like screenshots and stuff like that, and it's beautiful imagery, really well done movie. And for all intents, it should be a really well done movie because they spent like over $200-300 million on it.
Is that all?
Like it's like like Avengers big bucks.
Yeah.
From Disney, no less. And just for that movie to like make like, I don't even know if it was a quarter of its shillings back. But yeah, I mean, it did really horrible, and you know, like the people that were really like into the books, that book series was ahead of its time. Like some of the stuff they were talking about wasn't even invented yet.
Yeah,
you know, it was just pipe dreams, and
Mars wasn't even. Invented
they were pipe dreams, or they were thoughts and people who hadn't been born yet.
Yeah,
you know, at least for like the inventive process, but they were in this guy's mind. This literary, I forget what the guy's name was, but
John. But, you know, it's funny because that makes it kind of appropriate because it's like John Connor doing well in the theaters was also a pipe dream. You know, it's just like, oh, we really expected this to do well.
I get it. Took me a while. Cycled it, let it marinate like a fine wine.
There you go.
As you must let it do. Or at least me.
Delicious.
As I must let it do.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. Good old Gambit. I mean, I don't know. I'm refraining all judgment from all Fox movies until I see at least Days of Future Past. Like, I'm not going to get excited or upset. Yeah. It's like, show me what you got here, because you have one of the best X-Men stories. You have at least half of an excellent cast, and then you have, like, rejects from the first.
Arguably, probably the best story, because it's definitely the one that, like, any, like, diehard comic book fan would talk about. Like, I grew up reading that.
It's one of the most iconic. It's like that one and like the Phoenix Saga, which they've already butchered.
Saba.
But Saba.
Yeah, that one just felt like really like horribly shoehorned, which is why like I was actually watching X-Men 2. No, X2.
Yeah.
X-Men United. Some bullshit.
AKA the Wolverine Origins, the first one.
I hated the title. The title alone I hate. X2, X-Men United. It's not X2 because there's no X1 proper. You know, it's just, it was called X-Men. All right? X-Men 2. I don't know why they would have to do. I'm just going to work over it for nothing now. See this? No, but I was watching it the other day, and it was like the last like 30 minutes of the movie. You know, it was like the fight scene where it was maybe a little bit before Wolverine was fighting Lady Deathstrike.
Oh yeah,
and they were like trying to get into like some little console thing, or Mystique was like stuck there, or some shit like that, and so they were trying to find a way to bust her out. And they're asking Nightcrawler if he can do that. I must visualize the place for me to know where to go, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, please. This was not a problem in the comics.
No, not at all.
But anyways, yeah. There were just certain things where it just felt really kind of bland and boring. I was like, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to watch it just to see if I really do, like, hate it. And then in the end, like, you don't say that. It was like all the 30 minutes of watching just for Cyclops to be like, no, you don't say that. That made it worth it.
Was that in the third?
Which is sad.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't hate the first two, but I just didn't think they were that great. But I like aspects of it. I thought Nightcrawler was done really well.
I think Nightcrawler was done really well, too, and I didn't have an issue with him, like, not visualizing the thing. I just thought,
yeah.
Way to, like, just to kill that plot spot with that character, who would have been perfect to helping them out. And they're like, oh, no, you got to think of another plan. Oh, please.
I don't know. For me, those movies are just fun, like, as quotables. But, like, they're not supposed to... They're, like... The quotes are amusing unintentionally. Go fun. You are always an animal, Wolverine.
Yeah.
We just gave you claws.
We just gave you claws.
Even though they retconned it, you always had claws. So I should have said, we just gave you metal claws. So I don't know. But speaking of Marvel... This article is funny because it's like, okay, so Universal owns, like, they have the loan rights to Namor. Like, Namor's out there in the middle of the ocean, away from all these other big studios, and so there's just like a rumor. Like, all they have done is like said that there's an untitled project for 2016. So obviously the internet being the internet, speculating. They're like, is this going to be Mass Effect? Is it going to be Namor? Hell, it might even be Hot Wheels, because we know how great movies are when they're toy properties that get turned into movies.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny, but it kind of would be cool to see a Namor movie. I really wish, though, like, even if they gave Namor to Fox, like, that's how much I want Namor to be part of some sort of universe.
Yeah.
And in fact, it would be better for Fox. I mean, obviously, the best would be Marvel, but I mean, at least if he can sit there and just troll Reed Richards. Like, without that, it's like, come on, it's the best part of Namor. Yeah. Always trying to get...
Take, like, his strongest opponent away from him. He was like, Reed Richards and Namor go hand in hand just as much as Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They alternate, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That just seems like... Why wouldn't... Like, when Fox first got the rights to the Fantastic Four, wouldn't they, like, oh, well, Namor's part of that universe?
Yeah.
You know?
Like
it was with the Spider-Man franchise. Like, oh, well, we have... all these villains to go along with the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how Marvel was when they started selling everything off, but...
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably more Marvel's bad than Fox.
No, I totally understand that, but
yeah, it does suck, though. It's just like... Well, it is funny, too, because of all characters, it's like... Namor's not really... He's more of a supporting character.
Yeah. So
for Namor to just be out on his own, it just seems really weird.
Why would it take them this long? I mean, there's obvious reasons, of course, but, like... How long have they had the rights?
That's a good
Namor?
question, because you would have thought they would have reverted by now. Because if you're assuming that they bought the rights, I'm guessing late 90s when Marvel went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Then at that point, but it's like, okay, so Blade and Ghost Rider have already reverted.
Yeah.
And they've actually made movies in recent memory.
Yeah.
There's never been a Namor movie. So how does
ever.
Universal still have these rights?
Yeah.
Unless they're just like, we have these rights forever. Because I'm Namor!
Yeah. They just do the whole NWO for life.
So I don't know, but I really hope that it's not Namor. But first I was gonna say that'd be a cool movie, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's just like, just let those rights revert. Let Marvel have them. Let him do something cool. Let him fight the Hulk or something. And him not
be Namor.
Yeah. So I don't know. A Mass Effect movie. I don't know. You're the big Mass Effect fan, but it's just like, video games and movies don't ever really seem to mix.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if World of Warcraft can be the first one to actually not be garbage, but I'm not holding my breath. Not holding it. So, anyway, speaking of Marvel properties, so Joe Quesada, his Infinite Wisdom, so he's been talking about the new Netflix series and talking specifically about Daredevil, because I guess that will be the first one that they debut. And people were kind of wondering if it's going to be like most Netflix shows where it's like you get the entire season all at once. And he's like, well, the way you can kind of break down the way the episodes are going to be, it's going to be more like a graphic novel versus like single issues.
Right.
So it's all like one big movie. And he's like, because we anticipate there's going to be those people that are like, you know what? I'm calling into work, or I don't have a job, and I'm watching 13 hours of TV right now. I'm binge watching this entire thing.
Right.
And that'll probably be me. But, so it's kind of cool. I mean, I think that's one of the best things about Netflix, is it's like, I don't know, like, some shows, now that I'm actually watching, like Game of Thrones, or when Walking Dead was on, it's so hard to watch it just one at a time. You get so used to, like, that instant gratification. But at the same time, it kind of sucks because it's over that much easier, or that much quicker.
Right,
It's like, oh, man.
The void comes that much quicker instead of, like, 2 months from now.
Yeah, it's like you don't get to savor it like you once would,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm really, like, of all the properties, I think I'm looking forward to Daredevil the most. And then, like, Iron Fist is a close second.
Yeah.
But I think Daredevil has so much potential. And it just...
It does. It really does. Because, like, he always gets the comparison to Batman. He's a street-level Batman. Or he's like Marvel's Batman. Which is, it's kind of bullshit because Iron Man is Marvel's Batman. He's just different. But he's not, like, verbatim Batman. But, like, if anybody was verbatim Batman, it'd be Daredevil. Although he doesn't have the same reach as Bruce Wayne does. But, I mean, in that sense, he could totally be a workable character. He's got a really, like, haunting past if you focused on that and just kind of had it to where he was always brooding about that. But that was the problem with Daredevil, is he never brooded. He was always, like, this really generic sense of justice no matter what. And it's, everything's black and white. And, there's a whole emphasis on him being blind. And there was always, like, and in that sense, he was kind of, like, restrained. And really, he was very boring. Yeah. And to me, Daredevil was a very boring character. He had a really, like, Bendis' run on Daredevil was incredible. Yeah. I still have, I don't know what happened to my other two, but I have 1, 3, and 4, and I had all the way up to Volume 5. And then I have Kevin Smith's run on Daredevil, which is pretty damn good. Yeah. I guess that's the reason why I'm so excited, because he has, okay, Frank Miller was the first one to do, like, an epic run, reinvent the character. Right. So they have that. And then here comes Bendis, who, like, tops Frank Miller, arguably, Yeah. And then here comes Brubaker, where people even said, arguably, he tops Bendis. Yeah. And they said then there's Kevin Smith's run. So it's like, I haven't read...
Brubaker's I haven't read all of it, but it's really good. But I mean, either way, even if, like, they're all on par, or, like, one's better than the other, whichever one, you still have a lot of good source material to pull from. Right. It's not like you have, like, one good arc and it's like, well, that's it for this character.
Yeah, like, if anything, his origin run's probably one of the most boring things. It's like, you need to write some of the, like, just like what they did with the Iron Man franchise, with the Batman franchise, and the Thor and Captain America franchises. Yeah. They're all doing, like, current, or at least recent within the past, like, within this last 10 years. Yeah. They're pulling from those storylines. Whereas X-Men's pulling from, like, really old stuff and not finding success. Daredevil did the same thing. Ghost Rider tried, I think, both and kind of failed. Yeah. Kind of made, like, a middle ground. Because both movies aren't, like... Okay, well, the first one's kind of terrible, but it had Eva Mendes in it, and you can't really go wrong with Eva Mendes.
No, not at all.
The second one was fun, and it had Idris Elba in it. Yeah. But there just wasn't... From the guys that did Crank, like, why didn't you just make it more like Crank? There was like, oh, yeah, it's like Crank on acid. It's like, that's funny, because Crank is Crank on acid. Or whatever other drugs. Like, we need... Ghost Rider to be like Crank on bath salts in hell, with demon powers. Yeah. And it wasn't that. It was not Crank with bath salts in hell.
Actually, who would have been a great director? Either Matthew Vaughn or even the guy who actually did Kick-Ass 2. Because it's like all of the crazy...
I was going to say I was like, well, that was Matthew Vaughn.
Because all the crazy over-the-topness... Yeah, like, if that's what they're going for...
But I mean, Kick-Ass is a Mark Miller property. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, but at least Matthew Vaughn and the other Kick-Ass director, whatever the hell his name is, I should be looking this up. But at least they had, like, creative insight from Miller himself.
I see what you're saying. But I mean, I'm saying, like, as far as, like, the action and stuff, it's like, okay, when you have a scene where someone takes a lawnmower, starts it up, puts it on the...
Wadlow.
Okay, Jeff Wadlow. Puts it on the back of a car and reverses into a police car... Has said lawnmower go through the front windshield and
with,
chop
like, happy-go-lucky music all at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to have Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, like, that's the type of ridiculous, over-the-top shit, like, that should be there, you know?
It's like, I don't know if this is the right word I'm looking for, but it's almost like ironic comparisons, like when they clashed with each other, you know, where you have like this really like happy music going along with like mutilation and stuff like that. It's like, that's not the kind of music you need to be playing, but it works. For some like odd twisted reason within our heads, like it works and makes the scene that much more fun, to where it's like, oh, I should be laughing at this, not like biting my nails off being terrified like I would like in Hostel or something like that.
Well, for me it works only because like at that point in the movie I'm just like, okay, I can only enjoy this movie one way. Brain off, you know, and just sit there and just marvel at just like, because at that point you're like, all right, where are they going to go next? Like, what other ridiculous, like nonsensical thing are they going to do?
It's almost the same kind of thing with like the Raid movies, where like they're extreme, and like when I saw the second one, I was like, man, this is like way more extreme than the first one. And then a couple days ago, I was watching the hallway scene from the first Raid movie, and I was like, nope. This movie is just as extreme, although they do a lot more fighting and extreme stuff in the second one because it's over like a time lapse of weeks, so there's a lot more other things happening. Whereas the Raid is like a matter of hours. You know, it's just like the former half of the day. You know, and they're getting out of this whole instance like maybe just a little bit after lunchtime. You know, they start like right at the crack of dawn. But like, there's some like really crazy stuff. Like I thought all the knife like stabbing a dude and then running it down the side of his leg. I thought that was just like, I forgot everything that happened in the first Raid movie. I was like, no, they're doing the same extreme stuff. It's so bloody. I was showing some people from work the other day about, I was like, you guys need to see this series of movies. And I was like, oh man, the first one's like almost just as extreme as the second one.
But just to that point, just so people don't get it twisted, like Kick-Ass is like extreme in the fact that it's like, well, Kick-Ass 2 at least. It's just extreme in the fact that it's like shut your brain off dumb.
No, Kick-Ass as well, because you have a kid on a rocket pack shooting a dude with a bazooka.
But they don't jump the shark until like the very end. Like they do, like Kick-Ass 2 jumps the shark. Like it starts with the shark being.
It like, just starts where the first one left off. I'm like, you know what? Let's just ride this crazy train of excitement.
Because the first one had a crescendo. It starts off like kind of grounded. It gets crazy. Because, like, the second you introduce Hit Girl and Big Daddy, it gets ridiculous. And then it's like, all right, you know, you assume, okay, this is the tone of it now. And then it gets even more ridiculous at the end. You're like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to stick with this. It's like, the second one is just like, they are just like, you know what, reality, just go ahead and sit in the corner. We don't need you. We're just going to get it as crazy as possible. But in contrast to the Raid is just like jaw-dropping. It's just like, I mean, it's obviously something.
It's also definitely like a turn-your-brain-off movie.
Yeah, I guess. It's not. But I mean, to me, it's like Kick-Ass just does stuff that's dumb, whereas the Raid is like, it's suspension of disbelief, but it's more just like awe-inspiring. Where it's like, this is insane. Like, I have no idea like how the actors are not dead. It's more like that. I mean, obviously,
but for us, yes. I think for like the general viewer who just sees everything as just like one cohesive like mass of just like, this is just overstimulation. Like Hibiki when she was like. Like, it should have been understood with her. Like, you just need to turn your brain off. Like, that was just too extreme for her. And, like, movies like that are just, like, that's too much. I need something a little more cerebral.
Well, well, I mean, also, if you're squeamish, then obviously that's going to be overload for you instantly.
So, like, in that sense, I think just, like, when you're speaking to the general masses, like, these are generally movies that you just want to turn your brain off. I see where you're coming from.
I don't know. I just don't want to put the Raid in that category, because to me, it's more just, like, if you love action movies, you're just going to be on the edge of your seat the entire time. Right. For me, like, Kick-Ass was just like, it didn't have to be that dumb, but they decided to take it to that level. So, I don't know. I guess that's just the point I'm trying to make. But anyway, speaking of dumb, Hugh Jackman. No, I was kidding. But, no. But it was kind of funny. So, obviously, you know, I don't know, a month ago, Hugh Jackman was like, I think I'm done with Wolverine. Going to step down, and they're talking about, like, we might retire the character, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
And I was like, until that dump truck of money comes by, and you're like, I think I'll be Wolverine again.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's like, you give him the right amount of paycheck, you give him the right paycheck with the right money on there, and he's going to be like, you know what, I think I can don the proverbial yellow spandex one more time.
Yeah, and lo and behold, he's like, well, he gives the explanation of, well, after X-Men Days of Future Past, he's like, you know what, I think I got one more in me.
I got an island off the coast of Fiji that I really want.
Yeah,
I think
right.
I'm going to do this next film.
I don't have enough private helicopters, so I think I need 2 or 3 more. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have any strong feelings towards this. I just think it's funny that it's like, obviously, he's not going to be done. Like, to me, it's like, as long as he's physically able to do these movies, he's going to keep doing them.
Yeah, until it's time to do Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
And then he's going to do Old Man Logan.
Well, I kind of feel like if he does do Old Man Logan, it's going to literally when they're going to, like, they might retire him for, like, a movie or 2.
It's going to be how, like, Unforgiven is, like, the unsaid, like, sequel to The Man with No Name quadrilogy.
Yeah, like, I can see him stepping away, and then actually, when he actually is old, they would have him come back to do it, you know? But, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, it's like the X-Men movies really don't need more Wolverine, but we're gonna get it anyway. Yeah. Oh no, I'm Luis of the Comic Bubble.
Yeah, I just saw it.
It just popped in. Said Daddy's home.
Daddy is home. We need you.
But I'm the papa.
Because now we're talking about comics.
Yeah. So So I don't know. It's just like one of those like, oh wow, did see that one coming. So not really shocking at all. But what is kind of shocking, not really. But I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Kickboxer way back in the day, the classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that is in the hearts of many.
I've seen those movies. Who are you talking to, sir?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to, sir?
I don't know. You seem like you wouldn't like that era of movie.
As a kid, I loved it.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
because I know how much you love Seagal.
I love Bloodsport.
Bloodsport is epic. But it's like, okay, so you got that, and now it's like...
Kickboxer it wasn't as great.
It was not. No, it certainly was not. It was almost like the blueprint, and then it was like the prototype, and then they solidified it and made it better when they made Bloodsport.
I think what really destroys Kickboxer for me is like the 5 sequels that came after. I'm not even lying. I think it did go all... at least it went all the way up to Kickboxer 5.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's also a Kickboxer 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt
they were
it.
all done with Uncle Cody from Step by Step. His name was like Misha something.
Wow.
I remember he had like a girl's name.
Yeah. That is pretty awful. But anyway,
Uncle Cody. Go ahead.
So they're bringing it back, and now we got Dave Bautista of Guardians of the Galaxy fame playing Drax the Destroyer and Batroc the Leaper.
Really?
Yeah, GSP is also going to be in it.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know which one is going to be the main character. I would imagine Bautista, since he's a little bit more seasoned. But it would be kind of cool. I mean, especially now that GSP is semi-retired.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, it's one of those things where it's like, obviously GSP is not an actor at all.
Yeah.
He hardly has charisma in just interviews that he does for his actual job of being a fighter.
And the only thing that makes it entertaining is his accent.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if he's going to be the person to replace Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's someone who has some charisma, but it's like his acting, it was never the reason why you watched his movies, you know?
Yeah.
To me, like, he seems a lot better as a successor to Jean-Claude Van Damme than, say, what was the guy's name? Colin Farrell was a successor to Arnold. You know?
Yeah.
You have, like, one of the most charismatic actors, granted, not a great actor, but charisma dripping from him, to one of the least charismatic actors in Colin Farrell. So, like, at least in this regard, it's like, okay, they're rebooting it. They're at least going to get somebody who can do the stunts. They can do the stunts even better than I'm sure Jean-Claude Van Damme even could in his best day. And I don't know. I think it actually has potential. I'm very shocked when I say that. Kind of looking forward to it. Unless Batista is the main character, which I have no beef with Batista. But he can't do it like GSP can. Like, oh man, Batroc the Leaper versus Captain America.
Well, you know,
badass scene.
Okay, now I'm getting confused. Wait, okay, no, Chinese Hercules. Other people know him as Bolo.
Yeah,
he was in Bloodsport, but was he also in Kickboxer?
Probably, dude. Bolo was like in pretty much after Bruce Lee died. Bolo became like the villain for like every Van Damme movie. Yeah. But honestly, I don't remember because all those movies blend together for me. But that would make a lot of sense, though, if they had Batista as the Bolo type character.
Right.
And then GSP as the Jean-Claude Van Damme character. But it's funny, there's a video online of GSP training with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Uh-huh.
Van Damme just looks so goofy just trying to train next to him. He's just doing these stupid little kicks. He's just like, go, just take your ball and go home.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, like you're just making yourself look silly. so apparently his character's name, Jean-Claude Van Damme, was Kurt Sloan. Kurt Sloan must learn the ancient kickboxing art of Muay Thai in order to avenge his brother. So there you go. And his brother being Eric Sloan. I'm trying to go through the cast list. I don't see Bolo here, but doesn't mean that he's not there.
What was the guy's name again?
Go ahead and be on the lookout. I already closed the thing. For Jean-Claude Van Damme's character?
Yeah.
Something Sloan.
It was Kurt Sloan.
Kurt Sloan, yeah.
But that's the thing for the new movie, too?
I'm pretty sure they're going to have him be the same character.
Why?
Why wouldn't they?
And it wasn't, I don't know who the villain was. I think it was Dennis, no.
Dennis Miller.
Dennis Chan. Haskell V. Anderson III. I don't even remember. But it wasn't Bolo Chung.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He was just in Bloodsport. I mean, he was just in Bloodsport, not Kickboxer.
Oh, okay. But either way, hopefully it'll be GSP. If it's GSP, I'll be excited. If it's Batista, I want to say I'll redbox it, but I won't even do that. I'll think about it, and then I'll forget about it and watch a better movie.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about that. Now that Luis has joined us, I want to talk about 24, just really briefly. So I think it's funny because it's like anytime, especially when a show comes back on the air after it's been canceled, you're like, is it going to have that same flair and that same feeling that it did, when it was originally on the air? And 24 did not disappoint. Like, not only was like the season premiere great, and it was just like classic 24, it has my favorite things about 24, which are like the terrible things about 24. And it's the fact that like characters who are not named Jack Bauer are plot devices, and that is all. Like,
only allow for Jack to step on to move the plot forward.
Well, not even that he steps on him, but it's like they only live long enough to drive the plot forward. And like there's a character, and he's like
stepping stones, sir.
Yeah,
he's walking on him.
Oh, he is. He's dancing. He's dancing on him. But they're pretty. Well, there's a character, and he's like a hacker that hacks a drone and blows up some army guy or whatever.
And then that's the end of his use.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but and then Jack Bauer is trying to come after him. He escapes, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, so it's like him and his girlfriend. He's unveiling this huge like plan to her. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use these drones to kill the president and start like a civil war or a world war or whatever. And we're gonna hang out in Switzerland or whatever country, Sweden.
Hang out.
Yeah. Well, they're just gonna hang out there because it's like they're neutral. We'll be cool. Don't worry about it, babe. It's
right.
like you're just gonna openly talk about this. Like you're the worst terrorist ever. But anyway, it was funny. So he's just telling her all this stuff, and he's all paranoid because he thinks that the person who he's working for, which is Catelyn Stark, so apparently she's doing well for herself after being killed.
Oh.
But he's thinking that she betrayed him. So he's like, oh, I don't know. We got to find another buyer. Blah 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 blah. So anyway, he goes to the restroom. And then his girlfriend, like, follows him. And so, instantly, once you see that, you're like, okay, if this was an HBO show, they probably would have, like, some raunchy sex in the restroom.
Yeah.
But it's Fox. So you know she's only there for one thing, to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And she stabs him in the ear.
Oh, my God.
Just, like, it was pretty brutal. And I was just sitting there just laughing. Like, one, because it's just like, yep. 24's back.
Yeah.
And she's obviously a double agent. She's walking out of the bathroom, taking her wig off. She's like, Mother, I have the package. I'm like, oh, that's exactly how they do it on 24.
Yeah.
It was, like, funny for that. And then it was awesome, too, because it's just like, I just love, like, the sensibilities of America. Like, if they would have had a sex scene, that would have been the most outrageous thing ever. It's like, oh, my God, American values are being challenged. But you can have someone murdered in a restroom from someone who you loved, but being stabbed in the
American
brain.
American values are being upheld.
Yeah, by being stabbed in the brain.
Upheld and dignified.
Through the ear. It's like, nah, that's fine. That's par for the course. That's cool. That's America. But I just thought that was hilarious. Because it wasn't just like, the cutaway. It was just like, I don't even know what she stabbed him with, but it looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
For the few moments that he was conscious before his brain shut down.
It's probably like a spoon or something. A spoon, like she just goes up to the barista. Hey, you got any spoons? Like, oh yeah, here you go. Thanks. Just goes in and doesn't even do it with like the holding in.
Yeah.
Just grabs like the actual spoon. Like, I think I want me some brain.
He's like whistling Mary Poppins. Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
This medulla's delicious
in the most delightful way, and just stabs him. He's like, ah. But it was I don't know. It was this classic 24. And in this last episode, I won't spoil it, but they introduced this other character who's like the CIA agent, and she's just literally just like she's like the rogue agent that like Jack Bauer always was. It's just funny just seeing someone else like play his role. Right. We're like, all right, we need to stand down. The military's here, and she's like, I'm gonna do this anyway. But at least with her, it makes sense because it's like her whole character is her husband was actually a spy the whole time, and she never knew. So they're like kicking her out anyway. They're like, you're gonna go do paperwork. You're out of this agency over here. Yeah. So she's got like nothing to lose. But like Jack Bauer's like, you got a pension, you got a job, you got a family. Like you probably don't want to be doing all this craziness. You kind of want to keep this job. But no, it's kind of funny. But supposedly they might be trying to pass the torch where she takes over, I guess, whenever Kiefer Sutherland's like done doing 24.
So she's going to be a new badass?
Supposedly, but they tried this already with another like minor character, which I haven't even seen it, but it was Chase from like season 3, I think. And he was supposed to be like the new Jack Bauer. And it was like, I think it was like Agent of CTU Chase or something. I think it lasted like half a season or something like that.
It's a half a season longer than I would have expected.
It was almost like, what were we looking at the other day? It was like a spinoff to like, was it the spinoff to Hercules or something?
Yeah, it was. It
was like Son of Hercules.
Son of Hercules. With Ryan Gosling. Yeah. I think Luis was showing us that.
That's what it was, yeah. I haven't even seen it, but that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Luis says, is it me or is Chloe in love with Jack? I don't know that she's in love with him, but it's just like she has. I mean, maybe, but to me,
she's got a fondness for him.
She just respects him. I mean, first of all, it's like the dude that she's working for is like, why do you care so much about this Jack guy? Like, blah blah blah. It's like, well,
she saved us so many times.
Well, even specifically for her, specifically in this day, she was being tortured at a CIA black site, and Jack broke her out. So you would think for that reason alone, she'd be like, you know what? It's not hurting me that much to help this dude. He just kept me from being tortured to death. I think I owe him a little bit, you know? Yeah. Not to mention all the times they've worked together in the past and their long history.
Wasn't she part of his CTU unit? Too?
Yeah, she was. They were like, she was like she was literally the only person to not die in CTU, pretty much. Yeah. Not die or end up being a double agent and arrested. So I was like, yeah, they got some history.
Which that is yet to be revealed. We still have a whole season to see if that's what her true intentions
She's going to like blow up at the very end.
Well, maybe she'll be the new Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
With that whole emo look she's sporting now. I mean, I haven't seen the show. I'm just going by what I've seen in trailers and posters and stuff like that.
Well, when you work for like a unit that's pretty much like WikiLeaks on steroids, you have to look like an emo goth or whatever.
Right, of course.
I don't know. This is funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I like the relationship. It's like it's just funny. But I don't know. It works well. But I don't think it's like romantic. I think she just really respects him. And again, saved her from being tortured. If I was being tortured and someone saved me and they're like, "Hey, I need your help," I'm like, "Dude, I'm there. I got you." Because being tortured fucking sucks. You know. So I don't know. I think she's loyal. I think that would be the word. She's very loyal to Mr. Bauer. So. I'm going to take a little departure from the news topics to talk about another show that's near and dear to my heart. Game of Thrones. Since Agamemnon is actually caught up, we can talk about it. So I don't know if you in the chat had okay, hold on. Before I go into that, because Luis is telling me. So he said, yeah, maybe respect and loyalty, but the way she didn't answer seemed like she was. I mean, it is possible. I just hope they don't do that, because it's always the cliche, like, first of all, if you're Jack Bauer's romantic interest, you're pretty much going to die, first of all. And I want Chloe to die. 2, it's just like, do they have to be in love? Can they not just have, like, can we not actually have a show where they have, like, a platonic relationship? Like, when we have a male and female lead, like, do they always have to get together? But, I don't know. It is possible that she does love Jack. And maybe she's into asphyxiation, because he chokes her out a lot. So it's definitely plausible and would not surprise me. But I don't know. I didn't see it like that, but I'll have to rewatch and see. Maybe she had that glimmer of love in her eyes and in her heart. But anyway, so first of all, spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So
spoilers.
So first of all, I want to say like last week's episode was probably the best one this side of Joffrey dying. Because, like, the previous episodes, like, they've been making up all these scenes that are just terrible.
I don't think they're terrible. I get it. I get where you're coming from because they're predictable and they're not part of the actual book.
Yeah.
Which I think those are two of the reasons why you don't really enjoy them.
Well, okay, before you go on.
But they're good. They're good.
But I think this episode they made up scenes too, but they were great. Like to
what
me,
scenes were they?
Okay, the scene where they kind of combined scenes and they changed stuff around, but like where Oberyn goes to talk to Tyrion, like that scene was great. The scene they made up with Jaime going to talk to Tyrion.
How is it different from the book, though?
Well, he tells him like right when he gets there about like the story about Cersei. But I thought it was better in the show, actually, because it was so much more powerful.
Well, of course, because when you get the chance to rewrite it, you want the most, especially when they're leaving it for the end, you want what's going to be most dramatic, not what's most like loyal to like the book stuff. So.
But, I mean, it's not always better, though.
It's not always better, but in that case...
The part where Yara goes to rescue Theon is a horrible scene. It's not horrible because it's not in the book. It's horrible because it's not written well, it's not executed well, and it ends so abruptly.
Okay, well, I'll say this. Tyrion... I forget the actor's name.
Peter Dinklage?
Yeah, Peter Dinklage. Already a proven excellent actor.
Yeah.
The people, I mean, the guy that plays Theon is freaking Lily Allen's younger brother. What the hell's his name? They named the song after. She made a song after him.
No idea.
Anyways, Habiki, what's Theon Greyjoy's name in real life?
Okay, well, we're trying to figure that out. Whatever. Anyway, go on.
Anyways... He's an okay actor. He's pretty good for not actually having an acting background. And mostly being famous for having a song that his older sister wrote after him. The girl that plays Yara, she's okay. She's not that great of an actress either. But the guy that plays...
Ramsay Snow,
incredible. To me, he made that entire scene. So when she's leaving, I just felt like, tuck tail and run. And it only adds to, like... hating him more. So when she left and she's like, my brother's dead, I wasn't thinking about how bad that scene was because the fight scene was like straight out of Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
You know, we're just like, oh, hey, we've switched from one side of the room to the other. You know, it just seemed like very Men in Tights-ish. But I mean... when she was leaving, like, my brother's dead, I didn't think of that part as, like, a terrible scene. I thought it more of just, like, I hate Ramsay Snow that much more to put her in that kind of position.
Yeah. It was just lazily written. That was my problem. Because it's like, okay, they set it up in Season 3, so it makes sense that she would go to try and rescue him. Okay. So I like that they put that in there. To me, the scene existing wasn't my problem. The execution of the scene was awful.
Right.
Like, it just didn't make sense. It was just like, he's opening the gate, and then all of a sudden, like, they're in the boat, and it's just like, this is stupid. Like, at least show, like, did the dogs get out? Did they just decide they didn't want to fight anymore?
Right.
It was just, like, a very lazily written scene.
To me, it feels like it's like we're back to that gripe with Robb Stark, to where they're, like, hiding in the bushes, and they have, for Robb Stark's wolf's name, but where he attacks those guys that are holding manning the stables, the Lannister men.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, they're all charging in, and then it just blacks out, and all of a sudden it's, like, late morning, and everyone's dead. It's like one of those things.
Well, that's a gripe on a different level. That's a gripe, but that's an understandable thing because it's for budgetary reasons. Yeah. But this just felt lazy. It just felt like they didn't really know where to go with the scene, and they didn't want to contradict where they were going. Yeah. So they just kind of just abruptly ended it. Or maybe it was just badly edited. Maybe they had more. But I don't know. Because, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think the people that play Yara and Theon are bad actors at all. I think they're fine actors.
I think they're okay.
Well, okay. Well, that's the thing. It's like...
I think it makes it easy to hate Theon and feel for him like, poor guy.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That scene was just kind of weak. I just feel like some of the scenes they've added have been really weak. But again, like I said, like in this episode and the most recent episode, they've added scenes. It's like, okay, so the way they combined the scene with like Oberyn, you know, telling him this really like messed up story at the same time where he's like at his lowest point. He thinks he's there just to mock him, right? You know, right. And then he finds out like he's actually going to fight for him. It's like, okay, that was beautifully done. You know, the scene where Jaime comes in, like all the scenes with Jaime and Tyrion. Well, Tyrion's in jail. None of those happen in the book, and they're all fantastic. So I'm not just hating on scenes because they're not in the book, but it's like some have been excellent, and some have just been like, did y'all really have to make this up? 'Cause they did not do any justice. Like the whole. Like north of the wall, where you know, where Jon goes to Caster's Keep, is just like this didn't do anything for me. It didn't add anything to the story. It was just like a side story that was completely unnecessary.
I liked it.
That was kind of weak.
Well, but I mean, like, why did you feel it was unnecessary compared to like other parts?
It was unnecessary for one because it did exactly what they already did the previous season, where it's like, is Jon Snow gonna see Bran? It's like, well, he didn't see him the first time. They've already played that card and they just rehashed it for one. Two, it was the cliche, Jon Snow's about to die. Oh wait, he's saved. It was just like Game of Thrones is good because it's atypical. When you do something that's like so predictable, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So I don't know. I didn't like that either. Hodor snapped the dude's neck. Some people complain about that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like it. I have no gripes with it, especially with like Hodor's like contemplating life in his hands, like Hodor.
Yeah, that part was cool. I mean, it had aspects that I liked, but I don't know. And then the dude drinking like out of Warmouth's skull was just kind of silly. It just felt.
I thought that was kind of like. Well, I didn't think it was silly. I just thought like I don't think Mormont's skull was that small.
Well, that and you can't drink out of a skull. It's got a lot of holes in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was like the eye parts were covered.
Yeah.
Like I don't deny anyone's craftsmanship at that place. They could have fixed something up that quick. I was just like, but like why?
Yeah.
As I sit here, so it's like it just seemed like a really like a perverted version of Hamlet.
Well, to me, it just felt like a really cliche, like, movie villain.
Yeah.
I think that's why I didn't like it. Like, I like how they expanded on this backstory where he's like, I was such a great assassin in Flea Bottom or whatever. It's like, okay, I like that. But everything, like, beyond that was just... Because I like the way he was bullying everybody. So it's like they instantly made this villain for you to hate.
Yeah.
And then, like, the way
it made me like him that much more.
Yeah.
Though. I was really sad when he died.
Yeah, but then it's like... Then I guess it's like... I guess I hated it because it had a good setup, I thought.
Uh-huh.
And then it didn't deliver.
Right.
Because it's like when you see that scene and you see how terrible... Like, Craster's wives already had to deal with Craster. So having to deal with this guy on top of that, it's just like, wow. Like, this guy... To be worse than that guy, like, you have to be awful.
Yeah.
So it's like it filled that void of Joffrey and, like, Walder Frey already. So it's like, oh, man, I can't wait. I had never been so excited to see, like, Jon Snow go into action. It's like, kill this bastard.
Yeah.
You know? But then when it finally happens, it's just like... This is pretty underwhelming.
I guess going into the scene, like I understand exactly where you're coming from, but like when he was fighting that guy inside the thing, I already felt like Jon was at a disadvantage because of the size of his sword.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't fight with something that huge. It's a fucking massive sword. It's a massive sword.
It ain't nice.
And just a small little spot. Like I'm surprised he didn't hit like the little columns inside the house more often. I think he hit it at least once. But it's just like, and the other guys, he's got tiny little knives, which like in any other arena of combat, it probably wouldn't work. But in close quarters, and probably in Flea Bottom, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Because they're small enough that you can conceal them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to hit the intended person, whereas like a huge like axe sword, you know, you're going to hack one dude and probably like damage somebody else's like earlobes or something. I don't know. But I mean, that part, I just kind of, that helped me like foresee like, the future of that fight. Like he's gonna fall, he's gonna lose grip of his sword eventually, and this is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting like a freaking handmaiden to like come and like stab him, like literally stab him in the back, and he's like, oh, that's a burden.
I mean, it was very poetic justice.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that like none of them were even visible that whole scene.
Yeah.
So it just felt like they wrote themselves in a corner, like, oh yeah, Craster's wives, they're somewhere in that area, so you can stab them. You know, it would have been one thing if, like, while they're fighting, you saw her, like, cowering in the background or something, and it was kind of foreshadowed. I don't know. It just felt like... it just felt cheap.
And I also understand, like, the other part where, like, he grabs that woman and throws her down and then does that little tiny, like, the baby speech where he's just like, how dare you, blah, and then all of a sudden he's about to kill her. It's like, did you really just turn your back on a Stark? Of all people to turn your back on, and it's not like that Starks are shady people or anything like that. It's just like not the same as turning your back on someone like Bronn. You know, fight dirty. You know, he's gonna kill you dirty. But it's like you're dealing with a major character and you're leaving him unattended. Like to me, that just for an assassin, it feels very, very sloppy.
Yeah,
you know. And then I already knew what was coming. And then when you see the sword go through like the back of his mouth, it's just like, like I was shocked at the brutality because honestly, I was expecting it to go through like his stomach or his chest and just kind of like hang there. And then Jon Snow just like kick him off with his leg, kick him off his own sword. But yeah, like dude, I was more shocked that it went through his face than it was like him actually dying.
Yeah,
and I was a little sad because I thought he was a really great character.
Well, see, I think all you've done is like proved my point, where it's like it's a cliche thing. It's like I've been stabbed by the person who's less of a threat. Yeah. Let me turn my back on the person who, you know, not a match for me, but has a freaking Valerian sword. It's just, I don't know. I just seen that crap in too many movies. It's like, I don't need this in my Game of Thrones, damn it. I don't need it, and I don't appreciate it.
I mean, I think I get why he would turn his back on someone like Jon Snow, because maybe he feels, highborn, he hasn't seen what I've seen. But it's like, Jon Snow's, in the short amount of time, and it seems small, but I mean, they don't really put emphasis on the months and months that pass by between each of these individual scenes, and it's more like half a year to a year, when they're traveling just to Craster's Keep, if I'm not mistaken, right? When they're traveling there, it's like they make it seem like it's an instant, and then they're back the next episode, but it really took like months and months just to travel those like 30 miles.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even give them that credit that they even thought about that. I think it was just a really like poorly
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't really understand those things. You just like take it for granted that these things happen so instantly. Yeah. For the viewer's pleasure, of course. But yeah.
Rib for your pleasure.
Yeah. Oops. Hang on. I think we just came off. Dang it. Hang on.
Oh man.
Is it picking up? Hang on. Is it? Yeah, I think it's picking up still.
Okay. But anyway, I don't know. But one of my favorite scenes from the most recent episode was with Arya and the Hound. And it was just like, again, not have seen the books, but it was great. I think it was probably like one of my favorite scenes the whole season. And, the Hound, they come across like this villager that's wounded and pretty much bleeding out. And, he's just pretty much just hanging out. And he's just like, and he's bleeding to death. And they're like, well, why don't you just, like, what's the whole point of sitting here bleeding to death? And he's just like, well, it's better than being dead.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, not really. Like, death is nothing. This is a slow, agonizing death.
Like, really, like, prolific statement from, like, such a small little girl.
Yeah. And he's just like, nah, I think I'd rather be alive. And then the whole scene where, like, the Hound goes in the water. He's like, I wish it was wine. So do I. And just stabs her in the heart.
Yeah.
And pretty much just being like Arya, like being her teacher, like that's how you kill a man, Yeah. And then her like instantly, like using that lesson like right.
Well, it wasn't even like that's how you kill a man, because I'm sure she's been wanting to know like better ways. He just says like that's where the heart is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean basically, because I mean she's killed people before, but that was the first time. Like this is where you aim for,
Yeah.
Instead of like when the first person she kills, she pretty much like stabs him to death, just like crazily.
Yeah.
And the other person she stabs in the throat, but she killed him specifically that way because that's the way he killed her friend.
Yeah.
But with this, it's just like now you have like an actual target. It's like if you're doing weapons training, it's like aim, center, mass. This is where you shoot.
Right.
And it was kind of like one of those, and I just love the whole exchange. When the Hound, because the Hound like already knows, like okay, he gets bit in the throat and throws the dude down, snaps his neck, and the other guy pops up. He's like, "Is this guy on your list?" And she's like, "No, I don't know his name." He's like, "What's your name?" But then the guy even answers that she just stabs him right.
I think
in the heart.
From his perspective, he's just like, "What the hell do these people care?"
Exactly. Yeah. He doesn't really think anything's gonna happen. So, and then from that scene to when he's explaining about the mountain burning his face and all that.
Yeah.
It was just a really, really good scene. I was just like, man, because I just love that pairing of Arya and the Hound, and just them humanizing the Hound.
It just really seems to work.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
It's like you want that, like the big ugly brute, and of course, like the tiniest small child person is the one that appeals to him the most.
Yeah.
And of course, he had
the same thing with Sansa.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He had different motives. But it makes you kind of wonder why he feels for the two of them so much, or like, I don't think he just does it because he does it, because he's the Hound and he's like this jerk or this asshole that's just gone through life like not trusting anybody and being alone. Like obviously he sees something in the two of them to have like gone that far to like protect them.
Yeah, well I think that's the thing. I think it's because he relates to them. Because even when he has that story, he's just like, my own brother. He's like, it doesn't piss me off that someone burned my face. It's like the fact that my own brother burned my face, and then my father covered it up. He's like, and you think you're alone. It's like she's somebody else who's also lost her entire family. He's like, I've never had one to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's the reason why he feels so drawn to the Starks, because it's like, they've been all separated and killed, and it's kind of like they've had to go through some of the same BS that he has.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shaped him, and he's kind of trying to prepare both of them, even when he was with Sansa. Like, this is the way the real world is, and he's always calling her, like, little bird. So, that whole aspect of it. So, I don't know. I think he relates to them, and that's the reason why he's he's kind of softened towards them.
Yeah.
So obviously, then to talk about the last scene in the episode with Liza, Aaron, and what's that kid's name now? I forgot. But with good old Peter Baelish up to his old
the
tricks.
annoying little kid. Oh my god. Let's call him Douche Nozzle.
Oh man,
Sir Douche Nozzle, future Lord of the
Lord of the Vale. I just love because in the book, like Sansa tore up like his doll or something. So I love how she just smacked him in the show.
Oh, that was. I haven't seen a good bitch slap like that in a really long time.
Yeah,
it was nice.
It was just great, especially because it was Sansa. Sansa's the most prissy and like
she's like the one Stark that hasn't like raised a hand at anybody or killed anybody.
Yeah,
not Bran. The little Rick on the side.
Rickon, yeah.
He's just a baby.
Yeah, exactly. She's always been the softest one. So even though it's against a little kid and it's just her just out of frustration, it's like, all right, Sansa. It's like you see the maturity in her as well.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it's just funny. You see the creepiness of Baelish coming back too when he kisses her. Because he's just so freaking creepy. It's like, just from the second when they were on the boat, it's like, I would not want to get on a boat with that dude. If I were a pretty redhead, the last thing I want to do is get close to that dude.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I just thought it was funny because I just love the way it plays out. Again, it's a little different in the book because there's like another witness that they end up blaming the whole murder on.
Right.
Because it's some guy who's like, he's in the previous seasons, he's the guy who wrote like some song making fun of the king.
Yeah.
And then Joffrey has his tongue ripped out. Where he's like, which do you value more, your hand or your tongues? He's like, well, my hands are how I make my living. He's like, tongue it is then. And so they pull his tongue out. So that's that character, and so they already did that, so I guess they wrote him out of that scene.
Okay.
But he either witnesses it or he shows up like right after what happens, and they just blame it on him. And they pretty much torture him until he confesses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to spin it for the next episode for Peter to be like, hey, she fell. Hey, food doors are dangerous.
Yeah.
Keep the kids away.
Let's have some cement over this moon door here. Let's never have this happen again.
But it was just kind of funny because it just showed just like how evil Baelish is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, he already murdered her, obviously. Like his whole thing, like she was just a pawn in his whole scheme.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I get that. That's the type of person he is. But he had to break her heart right before he killed her, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He easily could have just pushed her out and let her die thinking...
Typical creeper sadist.
Yeah. It was like the way she's hanging on every word. It's like, I've only loved one woman.
Oh, did you see that smile? My God, dude. She would have done the Joker proud.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, it just felt like he was waiting for that moment.
Sister.
For so long.
And then, like, as soon as like she pounces on that freaking like arrow to the chest,
yeah,
she's like, "Ooh!" He just pushes. Yeah,
just like this.
I think she was saying no, that not that she was following,
yeah, no,
but
right?
that he had chosen. He had always loved Catelyn.
Yeah. He might as well just said, "This is the Vale."
Yeah.
Just kicked her in the chest.
I love redheads.
Yeah, right. And yours is more of a reddish gray.
And I don't know if it was just me, but did I see Sansa smile a little bit?
Probably.
You know?
I would imagine she'd smile considering she was about to get thrown out there. I think she probably felt a lot more safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But Robin, that's his name.
Robin.
Yeah, that's the name of the kid.
Douche Nozzle. I like Douche Nozzle better.
Oh man. But yeah, so I don't know. Another great scene. So I didn't realize they're not going to have an episode next week, so I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, I don't know, do something else with my Sunday. I'm very sad about that.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Yes, indeed. So to move on to one of the last topics we got here.
Uh-huh.
An animated feature film. So, DC's been doing great with their movies. They got Son of Batman, I think is the most recent one. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard some people really loving it.
Yeah.
And just, Damon Wayne. I mean, come on. How can you hate on this Son of Batman? He's like Batman.
Damian Wayne.
Oh, did I say Damon Wayne?
You said Damon Wayans.
Oh, I'm thinking of David Wayans.
Like the Wayans brothers.
It's like Marlon Wayans is the son of Batman. It's like, I'm disappointed in you, son. You keep making shitty movies.
You decided to follow a career in comedy. So disappointed.
He's like, don't you know my arch nemesis is a clown? You know how much of a slap in the face that is?
He jumps on his bed and sits down, texts on his phone, FML. FML on Twitter.
Over it. But I mean, I don't know. Like the DC like animated movies, like they've done ones that are so good where it's like, as a Superman hater, and I'll still be like, wow, these are really good movies,
Yeah.
So, they've like, I believe they've done a Wonder Woman one as well, but I haven't seen that one. But, they've just been hitting it out of the park. It's like, if only they could get their live action, as good.
Yeah.
But, not holding my breath on that one. So, obviously, if you got Superman, you got Batman, you got Wonder Woman, you're like, oh, they got Flash, Flashpoint was excellent. So you're like, oh, who could be next? Green Lantern? Martian Manhunter?
Yeah. Cyborg?
Hawk Girl?
Hawk Girl?
No. The best of them all. Aquaman.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Aquaman's getting his own animated feature based off of the new 52.
Oh.
So,
well, now I'm a little... Now we're going to play it back a little bit and kind of wait it out and see, because I'm not so sure now.
I think it's funny. Like, universally, everyone seems to hate New 52.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's just so much going on. I mean, there's a lot that I don't really know, but, like, from what I do know, and there's only a handful of titles that I would really recommend.
Yeah.
Which are, like, Batwoman, Swamp Thing, and Animal Man. But then Swamp Thing kind of, it didn't really
Swamp Lad.
do bad, but it just kind of got really boring, and it just felt like, I don't know, to me, it just kind of was like rehashing old stuff. And then Animal Man, there was the whole like thing with his daughter and how she's like taking over his powers, but it's a lot different than what he could control.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were still really good series, and then obviously the whole negative turnout from the Batwoman series. And it just other things like that people just like haven't seemed to really like. It hasn't appealed to them, And overall, I mean, I'm sure there's other really great stories, but like overall, it just seems like the main like storylines that are going on with New 52, like people just seem to not be like very welcoming.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they had to do like the whole Year Zero thing. It's like all these comics are leading to a storyline. Like, no. Let's go back to the origins again.
Yeah, and not only that, they did kind of like in some of the comics they're happening like months before, like other comics. So kind of like when you look at it as a whole, it's kind of like a jumbled up Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, yeah, this kind of works, and like some are doing like a year forward and stuff, and like, yeah, you guys kind of already did that with the 1 year later storyline after you did 52, and then everything fast forwarded a year, and then you were doing 1 year later comics along with every single issue of 52 that was coming out that was filling in the blanks of that whole year of what had happened, pretty much. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. DC really seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, obviously it's one of those things where it's like their characters are so popular, it's not going to hurt them that much.
Right.
But it's like obviously the readers are the ones that suffer. Because I'm sure there's some people that are enjoying some of it, but for the most part, it seems to be very underwhelming.
Yeah.
And then what sucks too is that, okay, like I said, all their animated movies have been excellent.
Oh, yeah.
But even that's being infested by the New 52, because now they want to make their new movies are all supposed to be in the same cinematic universe, all based off of New 52.
And like coincide with what's going on in the comics, or
I don't know if it's supposed to be that. I just know that it's supposed to be like if they had like let's say if they changed, or I think they did change the origin for Wonder Woman. So now her origin in the cartoon version is going to also be that same origin from New 52. So if you hate what's going on in New 52, you'll probably be a little disappointed by the movies since they're based off of that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe sometimes when people see it like animated, it'll actually turn out better. Like, okay, well, why did they just do this instead?
Yeah.
Or, something like, or now it makes more sense because it looks cooler in animation than it did in the comics.
Yeah. And, to that point, actually, because after I saw Flashpoint, I was talking to Bluesif, who's like a resident DC fan.
Yeah.
And he's like, the animated movie actually did it better than the comic because he said that it was a lot of a tighter story.
Yeah.
Like there weren't as many tangents.
Yeah.
So maybe in that regard, maybe they'll look at what they've done with the storylines for New 52 and be like, all right, let's pick and choose all the good stuff and put it into one cohesive story.
Well, not just that, but like planning is a fickle art style. I mean, paneling is a fickle art style, So it's like you got to pick the right panels, the right angles, the right interactions, the right like poses and fight choreography within those panels and stuff. So if you don't do it right, then of course people are going to hate it. But when you actually see something more on animation, it's like, oh, they should have focused on this or did something like that in the comic, because the animators can see like where it went wrong in the comic and be like, hey, how can we make this better and make it look cooler while still like capturing those same images?
Yeah.
So in some senses, yeah, but like I think in the opposite way, where it's just like you have these really cool like panel for panel scenes in the comics. And it's like, well, people love these. How are we going to do them justice? So I think when you actually have work that people don't really care for, and you have the chance to make it better, it's a lot easier and there's less pressure. It's like, oh, let's just have fun with it. Than it would be to like, how do you create that epic scene with Superman holding up that 1940s looking car, and how do you do that justice? Yeah, it's just like, how do you put that in the fight scene and just make it look like it works? I think there'd be more pressure in doing something like that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think that's definitely one of the things, like, just to go off on a slight tangent on reboots. There's a thing I never got, like, why they reboot movies that are classics instead of rebooting movies that were mediocre. That had potential, though. Where it's like, okay, you had all the elements, you just didn't do it right. It's like, take that and make it better. Make it the great movie it should have been. Like, to me, like, that should be what they do with reboots.
It's like, well, I guess, no, yeah, I think it is a good comparison. It's like, instead of saying, like, how can we take Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, and make that better, which it could definitely be better, and they instead go like, how can we get Mask of the Phantasm and make that better? It's like, you don't! It's already incredible!
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how do I make bacon more delicious? It's like, it's already topped out. It's not going to get any more delicious. Just eat it. Shut up about it.
Yeah.
But, Bloodshot7 said he hadn't seen Flashpoint, but he wants and needs to. I definitely would recommend it. Like, I'm not even a big fan of Flash. Like, Flash is like, well, I'm not really a big fan of DC in general.
Right.
Save for Batman, of course. But no, Flash it's really cool, and I never really had seen Reverse Flash. And Reverse Flash is so awesome and such a dick. Like, there's a scene where he's just beating the crap out of Flash and just talking so much trash to him. I was like, I like this guy as a villain, So, I don't know. I definitely would recommend it. So, it would be cool. And my whole point is, like, to see... Oh, yeah, and that's the thing, too, because they made Aquaman a badass in Flashpoint.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's in his own solo series, they're going to do the same. Like, if you can manage to actually make Aquaman, like, not only cool, but, like, a respectable character, that would be quite an incredible feat. So,
Right.
I don't know. I'm very interested to see what they do and how well received it is.
Yeah.
Since for the most part, most DC movies have been well received. So, and also Bloodshot7 had pointed out that the Flash TV show looks good. Yeah.
I haven't seen the trailer for it yet. I heard it just came out like a day or two ago.
Yeah, it looks pretty promising. Both Flash and Gotham. Gotham looks pretty good as well.
Yeah, I saw the Gotham trailer. I think we talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah.
And that looks really dope.
I'm excited for it.
I will, Luis. Don't rush me, man. Go. Don't rush me.
Luis said he only reads 3 DC comics: Batman Eternal, Detective Comics, and Flash. So I read one of 3 of those. I think after
Detective Comics.
Well, no, Batman Eternal. I think Batman Eternal is what took place after Batman Year One.
Oh, okay.
And I guess by read, I mean purchase and think about reading that I haven't read yet.
See, right at the moment, I'm just collecting Batwoman.
Oh, okay.
That's all I got. Oh, and the Harley Quinn series.
Oh, okay.
But I'm kind of behind on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if is Batwoman still as good with the new creative team?
I have only read a couple of the issues. I have a huge backlog, but it's not bad. It's not. It's really not that bad. The Harley Quinn series, it was like the first issue is like 100-page. It's basically like a little baby graphic novel.
Yeah.
And I was reading through that, and it was like it wasn't bad, but like the art was kind of hard to get into. But as it progressed, it felt very like Bruce Timm-esque, so it made it easier to like really get behind. The only thing I didn't like is like some of the parts seemed like really over sexualized.
Okay.
They're more like fan service /
like
fat material.
Like the whole contest with her like in the bathtub.
Yeah. It's like, I liked it. It was sexy. It was like fun, but like I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus when I'm reading. It doesn't matter. Like the art matters.
Yeah.
But if I want to read something that's really engaging, the last thing I want is for just like every panel of the females to be like sexy and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it'd be nice if they felt respected instead of felt like over sexualized.
It's like at least it's kind of like when you know what you're getting in for. It's like okay, if Greg Horn did the art, then I understand.
Yeah,
because that's what he does.
The big mouths and the the ridiculous back bending.
Yeah.
With the huge J-Lo ass shots.
Yeah, but it's like if he's doing the art, it's like okay, you know what you're
get
in for.
it.
But it's like if you're
and then I can be like, okay, well, it looks like a fun one offer.
Yeah.
Or I don't think that's for me.
Yeah, but if you're trying to read a serious story, it takes you out because it's this isn't what I'm here for, you know.
Yeah, I mean it was a fun series and the art kind of made it fun, but it just kind of made it seem more not really High School of the Dead-ish.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, just was I don't know if it's for me. But the art was a little bit different in issue 2 and 3.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna stick with it for now.
Gotcha. Well, Luis said not what I've heard. From what I've heard, I guess referring to if Batwoman is as good as the previous.
It's not as good, but I haven't finished the storyline because I'm missing issues 9 through. I think 17 or 18, because I was gone for a year, so I had stopped with Batwoman issue 5, and then I went and collected 6, 7, and 8.
Gotcha.
And then I hit money woe, so I wasn't able to recollect those back issues. Although I know where to go to get them because they had more than an abundant amount. But I have to go. I don't want to read ahead.
Oh, I see.
But I started reading the reboot part. I think it was around issue 27. And I read the last 2 or 3. It has to deal with a spider story arc, and it's not bad, but it's just it kind of takes away. It gives more a fantasticism to the Batwoman storyline
I see.
than the previous one. Where there's always going to be the fantasticism, but it just felt a little more out there instead of this kind of supernatural TV show feel.
Yeah. Was it a mask of fantasticism?
Ha 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 ha! If only. If only.
But you had mentioned Bruce Timm before. I don't know if you saw the live action. They took the Batman the Animated Series intro and did it live action. And I swear I'm such a fanboy for that intro because I watched it and okay, this is pretty cool. I like what they did there.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of the trailer is right before he fights the bad guys on top of the roof is he does the eye narrowing.
Oh yeah.
So I rewatched it. I'm like, does he
Episode 1.
Yeah. So I was like, does he narrow his eyes? And I'm looking. He's like, he didn't narrow his eyes.
Yeah.
You did a shot for shot remake, and he did not narrow his eyes.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I should probably go outside and do something today. But no, it's pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen it, I'd recommend checking it out. It's pretty fun. But so we have one final topic. So we have all this technology. We can go to the moon, and we sent robots to Mars, and trying to get there eventually, colonize.
Yeah.
So obviously, the most important thing that we could possibly do on the moon now, instead of using that as a trial run for colonizing
or establishing a world engine.
Yeah, but obviously a soft drink company has decided, you know what, we got a good idea. We're gonna put cola on the moon.
Oh my! Just what everyone needed.
Yeah, so it's a Japanese soft drink company, and they have it's called Pocari Sweat.
Okay.
And apparently in 2015 they're going to put these sodas on the moon. And apparently they have a specially designed can that can last 30 years in space.
Huh.
And the whole purpose of this is to inspire young people to become astronauts so that one day they can travel to the lunar surface and guzzle down some Pocari sweat, I mean.
So they have 30 years, essentially.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So
that's a nice incentive.
The clock is ticking, y'all.
It just makes you wonder, how good is Pocari Sweet?
Yeah,
or how good are these cans? Of,
yeah.
Like
it's actually Sweat.
Pocari Sweat. I'm sorry.
But it's funny though, because it's just it's just like can you imagine, you actually do, this inspires you. You're like, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna become an astronaut, and you drink it and it's horrible. Would that not just ruin your entire life?
Yeah, I'd be like, what was all this for? I'm in the moon. Screw this. I'm going further.
You just take your helmet off and just float off. My favorite part also. So on top of that, it's going to also contain metal discs engraved, quote unquote, with children's dreams. So the Japanese are literally going to send children's dreams to the moon.
Well, that's good.
Because when people say sky's the limit, no, it's not. There is no limit.
Sir, there's only one person that says that. Sir Hooper, Nathaniel Ray Goodwin.
The Dean of Mean.
The sky the limit.
So you can actually, so up until May 2015, you can actually submit your own dreams via smartphone for their October 2015 delivery. So I want my dream to be that dream is delivered to the moon.
Yeah.
So pretty easy one.
I want my dream to be
in a Gundam.
No. Well, that's a good one. This is on the spot. Don't try to change the course of history, sir.
I already have.
My dream is for Gundam. It was Gundam related already.
Of course.
To be popular in America.
Oh. Well, we can dream, can't we?
So that I could actually be part of a fan group that loves Gundam just as much as I do.
I'm sure they're people.
There's not enough.
You gotta seek them out.
I want it to be like Whovian level in America.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yes, I know. That's why I want it to be a dream.
I think
it's a very good dream to have.
I think
it's not practical, which is why you want a dream. You want the impractical to be the dream.
Well,
because it makes you work that much harder.
I'm getting dreams that are very practical, where it's like I want that
they're not
dream.
Really dreams. They're just kind of like. Well, they're like good thoughts.
I guess
that's a good thought to have.
This is my thing with Gundam. It's like I think it had its shot with Gundam Wing on Toonami.
Yeah.
And it garnered a fan base.
But like when you talk about Toonami, people will talk about Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
We've had people who are like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch Toonami.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing was awesome." But they think that that's the extent of everything Gundam. Like everything, they think that everything Gundam started with Wing.
Yeah.
And very few people are like, "Oh no, this show dates back to like the '70s, and this show was like really depressing." But I mean, it's Japanese stuff. They treat their kids like adults. You know, they don't treat kids like they're just, this is just Looney Tunes.
Well, they treat them more like test subjects in anime.
Well, yeah, it's eugenics, but whatever. Anyways, they originally made the show because they were trying to sell a toy line.
Yeah.
Much the same like the way they did with Transformers in the 80s.
Yeah.
Transformers is crap compared to Gundam. Gundam is awesome. I just don't know, or I have an idea of why Gundam isn't as popular in America.
Well, I just explained it, because the problem is, Gundam Wing, okay, is Gundam Wing on now?
No.
How long has it been since Gundam Wing's been on TV? We have to remember people have short memories.
Like 1999.
There's two reasons. One, because Gundam Wing is no longer on television, and they didn't continue with the Gundam series.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like DBZ has the popularity because it's never gone away.
Because this was what my theory was. The reason why Gundam's not popular. Same reason why Ghost in the Shell isn't as popular, but shows like Naruto, Bleach, or DBZ are, because those shows are mindless, violent action. Thus is par for the course for most American cinema and like stuff that we digest every day through the media. Whereas Gundam is like pseudo-political, same as like Ghost in the Shell, and so it's not as welcoming to a receptive audience. That's just my thoughts on it.
I think that plays into it, but I think it's like Gundam Wing also ends. I mean, technically, Dragon Ball Z
ends after like 50 episodes.
But I mean, Dragon Ball Z has like 300,
and that's just one plot line. Could you imagine if there was like a continual plot line for Gundam Gundam Wing?
But that's what I mean, though. I think it's because it's kind of like, okay, like Cowboy Bebop was really popular when it was on TV, but then it ended.
Yeah.
And there's people that still remember it and love it and just will always hold it in their hearts, but it ended. DBZ can be on for like 3 years straight, showing it weekly, and you're still not going to be at the end.
Yeah.
So you garner this fan base like over a longer period of time, and I think
they're garbage.
I
mean, think about it. If you whittle down every episode of Dragon Ball Z, which is essentially what Team 4-Star has already done for us, you would barely even have 50 episodes.
Well, look, you're preaching to the choir.
I know.
I agree. Yeah, Naruto, Bleach, DBZ, they're all in that category. But the thing is, too, is it's a completely different audience.
Yeah.
They're aimed towards a younger audience where, like you said, it's all it is action and filler.
Yeah.
Whereas Gundam Wing is aimed towards more like a young adult audience.
Well, yeah, but even like something like Gundam, which was aimed just to sell toys, who do you sell toys to?
Yeah.
Not young adults.
Well, therein lies the problem. They made it too complex for their own target market.
Not for Japan's target
well,
market,
yeah,
sir.
but yeah, in America.
For America, it'd be something that you wouldn't even let your kid watch until they were like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Like, you're old enough to read Brave New World. I guess you can watch Gundam.
You're old enough to die for your country, son.
Yeah.
But Blood Ocean 07, he pretty much reiterates what I just said. Gundam isn't aimed for young kids like DBZ, but DBZ does have the nostalgia factor.
But that's the thing, is Gundam is aimed for a younger audience. It was just a different time. It was like the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, okay, and then also Blood of Snow 7 points out there's been a lot of DBZ fighting games too. And I think that also helps. Whereas
yeah, but that was like when we were teenagers when those games were popular.
Yeah, but they're still making them now, though. That's what I'm saying. It's continually making stuff in the franchise.
Yeah.
When's the last Gundam Wing game come out? Besides Dynasty Warriors Gundam, which is just even more niche in itself.
The last Gundam Wing came out, but it was Japan only. It was like 2 or 3 months ago. And Gundam 4 is coming out like 2 months from now.
Well,
so shut it.
Well, either way.
So
I don't know. I think Gundam has potential to be a lot more popular. I just think that they need to do some things with their marketing to get it out there.
Yeah.
I think also if they brought it back instead of Toonami, if they would put it on Adult Swim, I think it would have had a larger audience.
Yeah, I definitely think so too.
So
maybe not like OG Gundam,
but
it should. I mean, at the very least,
literally OG Gundam or G Gundam.
Gundam RX0078, whatever. I always forget the serial number, but like the original Gundam. But I mean, like 00 was like the latest series. That was like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. 3 years ago when it first aired. And I honestly don't know why Cartoon Network wouldn't pick that one up, because that one was really popular when it came out.
Yeah.
And that's like a recent one.
I don't know. Well, it's Cartoon Network. Sometimes they're hit, sometimes they're miss, and when they miss hard.
They're hit and miss with like their original programming.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff they get licensed is usually pretty solid.
Usually. But see, they never hated the advice of aim small, miss small.
Oh, that's right. Sifu Mel Gibson.
Yeah. So so I don't know. But yeah, so basically, yeah, so go ahead and let Japanese companies try and make your dreams come true.
I hope
and maybe one day Gundam will be as popular as Doctor Who in America somehow.
I'll leave it for the Japanese to figure it out.
I think
they got me this far. I'll let them keep.
I think when Japan actually makes functional giant robots, I think that's when it will be Gundam's time to shine. So maybe by the time someone goes into space and gets a Picari sweat, at that time we'll be able to fly in space with giant robots, and then at that time,
someone's
Gundam.
Gonna crack that can open and see that little.
They're gonna be like,
my footnote there, and just be like, flavor. Oh yes, it's been 30 years too long, Jay Salinas. I'm gonna make your dream come true.
And then Gundams invade the Earth, and we all get destroyed.
I bet you anything, my dream will be one of those 30 cans. Or is that how it works? Or they're just going to send like a boatload of like letters?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know if the cans are just going to be sitting there like in a cooler, like
it's going to be like one of those things where you drink the whole thing and then you look into the bottom of the can with like your flashlight and be like, oh, that's what the dream is.
You're going to get it. It's going to be like, and I got the golden ticket.
Yeah,
But yeah, they don't say exactly how it's going to be. Like, are they going to have like a shrine where it's just nothing but like cola? Because they said that it says the can will contain a metal disc with the child's dream engraved. So I don't know if the disc is in the can or on the can.
Let's hope it's not edible, because the last thing I need is for my dream to be like dissolved.
To be swallowed?
Yeah. Like it dissolves as the can opens. It gets like, oxygenated.
It's like it's like they have like a blade inside the can. Someone drinks it. It just like kills them. It's like the dream needs a sacrifice to work. Yeah. And with their death and blood, it's like all of a sudden Gundam becomes popular. It's like you have a tear in your eye. It's like it was worth the sacrifice.
That's just how it happens in the anime.
It was pretty much like Melisandre. Like it needs the king's blood.
Oh yeah, usurper Dragon Ball Z, usurper Naruto, usurper every pervy anime that's ruined anime as a whole.
Usurper Bleach.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of usurpers, people. You might want to sit down.
Yeah, right. You might want to get a snack.
Blood just said maybe get Linkin Park. You know what? I bet you Linkin Park is the one that ruined Gundam for everybody. Like, what's this lame-looking robot? Is that what all this stuff is about? And I'm just like, no, it's not. Please. No, Gundam.
It starts with what?
It's things like that make Soul Eater popular.
Soul Eater?
Soul Eater. It's an anime. It's on Netflix. Check it out. It started out good, and it ends like a ball of crap on your front porch.
I was thinking Soul Reaver.
No.
The PlayStation game. But since it's a Cracker Jack box cola, you get the prize inside.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll send that as an extra dream, like a PS dream. Like PS, also Cracker Jack box cola. Think about it before you send the dream.
Can you imagine you actually put prizes in like a Coke bottle, or not even a bottle, but in the can? Yeah. You can't get it out because the hole's not big enough. So you have to like cut into it with a scissor, and then you end up cutting your prize in half.
That sounds great.
Then you cut yourself on the actual aluminum can.
Oh, Jesus.
And then you bleed out.
It's going to be like that episode of, I think it was Always Sunny, where he was like trying to pee into the bottle and he cut like the tip of his penis. He's like, I got to cut. And it hurts when I tried to fold it back.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. Except me.
No one should ever have to say that. And I'm sad that there's been many.
That's a bad way to go out.
I mean, I'm sure it makes for funny stories for like for nurses.
It's a pretty cheap circumcision, though.
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyway, that's all I got for this week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, shout outs and thanks to Blood Ocean 07 for listening. Also, shout outs to Luis at the Comic Bubble. And be sure to check out the Comic Bubble every Friday at 8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. Eastern. And the podcast is posted every Monday.
That's right.
So check it out. Luis is an encyclopedia of knowledge. Very charming. You know, it's almost like you listen to a different podcast and learned how to make an awesome podcast of his own, you know. Shameless plug. But also check out Fern 4-Eyed Radio Network, of which we are proud members. They got a lot of podcasts on there.
They have Starfleet podcast. That's a big one. Socially Awkward podcast.
There was one Underground Railroad. That's a good one.
Underground Railroad. 12A Studios.
Arcade Bros.
Inappropriately
Appropriate, or something like that.
Yeah.
But check them out. Again, thanks for listening. Next week we'll
Extraordinary.
Oh yeah. Check out Extraordinary this Thursday. Hopefully, I'll have it uploaded to YouTube. You can find it on our Facebook page. Also, you can like the Extraordinary Facebook page. That's up there as well. And, of course, it'll be posted on punchingthewallsreality.com.
Yeah, for those who don't know or that are listening to this, Extraordinary is a TV show we actually do alongside Kitchen Overlord, Chris Rachel Oslin. And we tackle social issues that are geared more towards the nerd culture. So definitely appeals to anybody who considers themselves a nerd. Or at least it should appeal to them. We're still working on the appeal factor.
Yeah, basically.
It's a good series.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, I'm proud of very few things in my life. That is one of them.
Yeah, and basically if you want to see us give serious opinions on actual issues as opposed to just make fun of stupid news articles, definitely check it out. You know, we have some pretty hard-hitting topics. And other not as hard-hitting topics. But definitely check it out. At least give it a shot. You might enjoy it. You might even find something you like. But, yeah. Now I forgot what I was going to say as far as the plug goes. Oh, yeah. So next week, Kelly Nova and potentially Ace Nova will be joining us again.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for Kelly Nova.
We'll also be doing a little barbecue session. So if any of you are local, I'll be sending out a little invite, and you guys can join us. I
totally thought you were going to say, so if any of you love barbecue, too bad, because we're going to eat it, and you don't get any.
Well, there's that, too.
But, check out Kelly Nova. I just put the link in the chat. She does a Genderbender Lobo cosplay, which is fantastic. So check that out. Give her some love. And be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled time on Monday at 8 p.m. Central.
Memorial Day. So we know you guys ain't got shit to do.
Yeah, you ain't at work. You ain't doing nothing. You better listen, bub.
Yeah. Screw all those furniture sales that weekend. We need to be listening to Straight Outta Austin Monday evening.
If you don't listen, Hugh Jackman will never portray Wolverine again. Unless you don't want him to, then he will till the end of time.
Also, shout-outs to Blood Ocean for joining us again. He's got his own YouTube page.
They just hit 4,000, didn't they?
Yeah, youtube.com/bloodocean07. Did you hit 4,000?
I think you did. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. It's over 4,000. Oh, that's you. I thought that was Blood Ocean saying that.
Nope. Anyway, with that, this is Prometheus.
This is Agamemnon.
And this has been Straight Outta Austin.
Peace out, guys.
Thanks for listening, listeners. There you go, 4,000.